Welcome back to Rune Walking in Modern Times. I'm Ken, rune walker, shaman, author, your host for this podcast, and I appreciate you coming back. We're about a week away from the winter solstice, and one of my favorite times of year because I've always enjoyed going into the dark, but I love that pivotal time of the sun now beginning to come back toward the north. And I'll throw up this picture. I took this picture the other day when I was leaving the house. And in the V of the mountains, when it gets to the very bottom in the middle, that's pretty much solstice, winter solstice for us. And then it begins moving back to the north. And I love that. I enjoy it. And yeah, I hope you have a good solstice. I hope you have a good holiday season, however you're celebrating that through bloats or whatnot. Now, I wasn't quite sure what to talk about today. The last 3 episodes were pretty meaty, I think, as far as looking into the future and looking into the asking the runes or deities, gods, spirits, what skills do we need to pick up for the coming year? And I think that there's some really interesting threads and some interesting ideas locked in those 3 episodes. So I hope you enjoyed them. If you have any questions, please go to runewalker.com and send me a message, or you can do it through Facebook or Instagram as well, TikTok too. Now, one thing I have been thinking about speaking on or talking about is inspired by, I went to a concert last night, and it was Celtic Woman with the Utah Symphony Orchestra. Now, it was beautiful. I love the music. I love them. I love all of it. And what it inspired in me was this idea or this thought that with that music, the Celtic heritage, which is now completely infused with Christianity, which is great, fine. I don't have a, you know me, it's not my ideal. However, I think what I'm getting at and what I feel like is the kind of the thread about that I want to speak about is music. And the times I've gone to Ireland and gone to a local pub and out in the country and listened to music and been inspired by that. And this going to that last night just made me think about having something like that and having access to music or to the pub where everyone would go, and basically having access to a culture. And that takes me into this idea of rune walking in modern times. And what does that mean? What does it look like? Which I think is different for everyone. But let me start here, because this is where the thought went to. Rune walking in modern times is not the antithesis of Christianity. And I think that's a very important, if you can hear that, Henry agrees from the other room. I think it's important to not get caught up in your position or your worldview being in opposition to Christianity. I think it drains us, and it takes a lot of it makes us anti-Christian instead of making us pagan or an earth-based religion. So fuck that. Pull that out of how you identify yourself, and I think it also will give them less power over a lot of things. Now, rune walking in modern times. As I've said before, my friend Sophia, when they sent me a copy of their book, which I would love to find right now, but I'm too embarrassed to show you everything else around here. Sent me part of the Havamal, talking about runes and talking about rune being a rune walker, and I'm going to read this to you. So I'm reading actually from because I can't find their book, The Wanderer's Havamal, by Jackson Crawford. But do you know how to write them? Do you know how to read them? I think I've read this to you recently. Do you know how to paint them? Do you know how to test them, ask them, bless them, send them, offer them? Talking about the runes, of course. And I think that's good, and that's a great place to start. Because I believe that the wisdom of the runes is a living wisdom and a wisdom for living, I think that list from the Havamal is about working with and mastering them, yes. And in terms of like interacting with them, writing them, reading them, painting them, testing them, asking them, bless, send, offer, right? But I think one of the things that is not mentioned in the Havamal, and I was going to make some comment about Odin forgetting to put it in there, but it was just a joke. Living them is very different. Now, depending on which, well, let's just, like, we'll talk about Gabo real quick, because I think Gabo is the perfect rune to talk about this with, because it's so appropriate. So Gabo, of course, the rune of gift, exchange, crossroads, balance. It is a gift to cherish that we have folks around us. I read this to you recently, I'm sure. To sharing good times, bad times, bountiful and lean times. To keep them, we must honor true balance of exchange, true imbalance of exchange. So, living Gabo, which I think you can also go back to other parts of the Havamal for that, but living Gabo is about living a balanced life of exchange. So, what are your relationships? Are they balanced in exchange? Does the land you live on, do you have a balanced exchange there? So, I would add to the list, what I would add to the list is, do you know how to live them? And I think that's where we're going today. So, let's get a drink out of the big pink mug. Let's see what the runes want to talk about. or maybe not what they want to talk. Yeah. Well, okay. We'll see where this goes. Uruz and Yr. We've seen these recently. So let me pull out for you the poems. And Uruz, aurochs, strength, wild, untamed, instinct. I would also say undomesticated. So here's the poem. Wild. Be wild. Be untamed. Free. Free yourself. Follow your instincts, your gut, your blood line, all the way back. Back to the place and time when we had to trust our noses that told us of danger, of food, of sex. Trust your body. The recycled molecules that make up your body have been around much longer than you. Respect that, trust them, and in doing so, you will find you. To live Uruz is to live with a strong push forward. But it's strength because you're strong, you're big. Going back to the aurochs, it's about following the seasons. It's about following the herd. It's about that instinct of, and the nose that tells us where the next meal is coming from, where to find the plants to eat. It's beginning to get colder. We're going to move. So it's this strength of this big animal, but knowing where to move and where to go because it's instinctual. I also feel like part of this living Uruz is about not being domesticated or undomesticating yourself. This idea that we've been like horses broken, and well, I remember my parents took us to ride horses once, and I kept hearing that, well, we don't, this one is really gentle for maybe a younger child, but the problem is it starts to head out, but then it comes back. It doesn't want to go out, it wants to come back. And I think that's can be a bit of what happens to us in terms of we get so used to walking around in a circle during our breaking process that when we don't have the corral or the fence to hold us in to keep going in the circle, we still go in a circle. It would be a bit like taking down our maybe forms of capitalism or government without having something different to put in its place. We would end up putting the same structure there. So, living Uruz is living from our other two, well, actually our lower center of instinct, of knowing, center of knowing, which is your instinct. Uruz, I very much connect with that center of instinct. If you remember, we have logic, emotion, and then instinct sits in our lower gut. And it's living from a place of that, and knowing that the knowing comes from there. Allowing yourself to be pulled and drawn in the way that you need and feel hold 2. Year. I'm on this journey with you, so I'm wondering where we're going. So, year is going to be, if we look at it, it is a rune of mastery and focus, leveling up, craftsmanship, death to bring life. The poem is this: much is required to survive in the snowy north. Hunting is different, tracking is different, all harder. You must become more. You can't buy the bow, you must make it. You can't buy the arrow, you must make it. You must know the wind, the bow, the arrow intimately. They must be part of you. If you look at the 2 runes, year is just an addition of a couple lines to Uruz. Year being the rune of the archer, connected to hunting. I believe these 2 runes are probably more than we have ever, or I've ever realized, inextricably linked with the hunter and the hunted, if we put them in those terms. But I do think that the idea of being a hunter in the north, all of those skills, they can be instinctual, and they are instinctual. They become secondhand. They become instinctual. To know how to aim the bow for shooting something that's 25 yards versus 50 yards. How do you not leave footprints in the snow? So mastering yourself, the tools, and it's not about mastering the environment around you. It's about mastering your ability to align with the environment around you. Know which trees you can get for wood, for the bow, for the arrow. Know where to get the feathers. Know how to make the tips. So those are all interactions with. I see where this is going. Those are all interactions with the environment around you. Now, if you briefly remember from my last episode, I spoke about this kind of these ideas of alignment. And so Uruz being our wild, untamed selves, undomesticated anyway, that us mastering living from that space takes away all of the shit that we don't care about, or that we shouldn't care about, the stuff that is inconsequential, the stuff that is just fluffy, and the stuff that can pull us out of really living in our true alignment. Now, once we've done that, we can then begin to master being able to interact. We're not mastering the environment around us, but then we can then know what we need out of the environment around us. And that is where we then can become masters of aligning ourselves. I will tell you, I have been, let me see if I can not make a lot of noise. We'll see. Shit, this might go toppling. I've been ordering a shit ton of these type of books. Bushcraft First Aid, Bushcraft Survival, all of these books, because I think that's the mindset we need to be in when we're looking at living. It is probably 30 something here right now. I have this shirt on, when I go outside, when we go on a W for a walk with the dog in a minute, I don't want to say it too loudly, he'll jump up. I'm going to put on a coat and to keep myself warm, because my proper alignment, if I get too cold, that's not good. That takes me out of alignment. So what I love about these two runes in terms of the way they're showing up today, when we're talking about living the runes, rune walking in modern times by living them in modern times, the first thing we have to do is figure out what we need, what pulls us, where we're going, and then we figure out how to interact with the things around us. This can be on a micro and macro level, by the way. What parts of myself are out of alignment, that I need to get back into alignment to have the whole, or the ecosystem which I'm in, be me, or my family, or my town, or, we've talked about this. We've talked about this a lot over the last 3 episodes, I feel like, maybe even the last little while. And it's necessary. I'll tell you, it's completely necessary. I hope this has maybe inspired questions in you, inspired ideas in you. If you don't have the book, you can grab it from runewalker.com, or it's on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. I'm going to read to you the back real quick. This is a quote from me, by the way. Through many years with the runes, I have come to know them better. Knowing them has allowed me to see their applications in today's world. The storylines and themes found in the runes are real and applicable. In these pages, you will find my contribution to the ever-unfolding conversation of how to live in better alignment with ourselves, each other, and the world. You can expect to find my rune poems, the shapes I commonly use, the storylines and themes, deity and other being associations, as well as stories of how rune wisdom can help us find the alignment we seek. May you find memories in my stories, experiences, and poetry. May you find your hearth. May the relationships you begin to foster here lead to fulfillment, wholeness, and alignment. So, if that's what you're seeking and that's what you're looking for, and you want to see if the runes work for you, if you have a memory, you have a draw, you have a pull to them as being a remembrance and something that holds access to wisdom for you, please reach out and do that. I think that's going to be it for now. So, as I tend to leave you with, may your weird be filled with health, wealth, strength, and virility.